Hello, everyone. This is Loren Israelsen, president of the United Natural Products Alliance, UNPA. And I'm delighted to present Peter McMath, the Chief Revenue Officer of WPIC Marketing and Technologies. They are our newest and most exciting partner, I must say. And I've asked Peter to come on today and to tell us about WPIC, as well as the dynamic marketplace in Asia and the opportunities in e-commerce. And so it's a great pleasure to have you, Peter, and welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be with you, Loren, and good to see you here on today's call. And yeah, really pleased to be speaking with the membership today.
Terrific. Let's just start off, Peter. Give us a quick background on yourself, and then if you'll take us through WPIC. It's such an interesting company that is so broad in its capabilities and has been doing this for really a long time. And so I think it'll come as a real surprise to a lot of people that you're there and doing gangbusters business in Asia, particularly in China.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. WPIC has been in the Asian markets for over 18 years now. So a couple of decades can fly by pretty quickly. Especially in that market, things move so quickly. It's such a dynamic market. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer here at WPIC, so work with a lot of exciting partners, platforms, clients around the world as they look to expand their businesses within Asia. And I think particular of note to this call is our work within the health and wellness verticals. Obviously, our work spans across many different industries and consumer verticals, but health and wellness, as you might expect, is really booming inside of China and throughout Asia. We've done a lot of work with different consumer brands within the sector, from vitamins and supplements to more broader health and wellness categories. That is really exciting. So WPIC helps these brands and organizations with really end-to-end, what we would describe market entry and growth solutions. Despite, whether it's a company that's never set foot in Asia or a really established enterprise that has been maybe active there for many years and is looking to really dial things up and increase their performance inside of that market.
Terrific. Tell us about what's happening in the health and wellness space in China. I mean, this past 3 years has been a remarkable time for all of us. But wow, in China, a very dynamic situation right now. And one would think that health and wellness products are very high on the list of what consumers are interested in. Tell us more.
Yeah, that's bang on. I mean, the last 3 years have obviously been exciting from a macro standpoint, as you see consumer spending shifting from the offline to the online. I think even more relevant to today, here and now, is the last 8 weeks with the lifting of zero COVID policy, the lifting of COVID restrictions. We're expecting that any day now in China, zero quarantine effectively as for foreigners to enter that market. This is a really exciting time in China for health and wellness brands, as we've seen not only the category surge year over year, we're up just under 18% over last year. If you look at the big shopping festivals like 11/11, Singles Day, for those who are familiar with, the #1 consumer shopping event in China. But within health and wellness in particular, in the ecosystem of China, really consumers, we're seeing stats where personal savings are at an all-time high. We're rolling into Chinese New Year with Chinese New Year bonuses being mandated and ready to hit. And now we're expecting on top of that, consumer stimulus checks, being ready to be deployed throughout the market. This is really creating an epicenter of spending that's directly going to go into, the individual's health and wellness. And so brands that are ready to access that market, that are ready to participate, are really going to see some standout numbers over the coming quarters, really.
That's really very exciting. And when you contrast that with North America, we had very strong years, the last 2 or 3 years, but going into 2013, there's a general sense that things might be slowing down here. That makes Asian markets even more interesting, especially with what you've just told us about China, that just the size of market, the interest in the health and wellness category, and spendability. People have money to spend, and they certainly want to. So this is a very exciting time. So within the broad category of health and wellness, what's really the hot topics? What are people really interested in right now?
Yeah, there's a number of what we would describe as categories, subcategories that I think are really trending right now. Obvious verticals, vitamins, supplements, nutraceuticals are obviously, products that have a direct impact on someone's daily health and wellness. Emerging verticals that we're seeing massive trends in spending in would be, the broader probiotic space, targeting gut health, the microbiome, et cetera. And then you start to get into more broader categories, whether that be hair, personal care, skincare, products that are focused on stress relief, brain health, obviously diet are obvious ones, but these would be some of the standout categories and subcategories today that I think brands should be aware of just the sheer growth and spending power that's really being focused on those verticals.
Well, it sounds very much like the U.S. market. The subcategories of interest seem to be, in some respects, universal, which should come as no surprise. Let's talk about how does digital commerce work in China? Let's not assume anything. It's not quite the same as it is here, for sure. And it requires a very different understanding and skill set to be proficient and successful. Could you just help our viewers understand how does one go about entering and participating successfully in e-commerce in China?
Yeah, it's a really great question. And to kind of simplify it, I think first understanding the nature of consumer spending in China, you have a market where over 51% of transactions happen online versus offline. Within that ecosystem of online spending, that spending is really consolidated into a couple of key marketplaces. So contrasting that to the US market or the North American market, where on a good day, you have 16, 17% of transactions happening online. China's at 51% and growing. It really turns people's and brands' attention to a number of key online channels. Second to that, the rise of the internet in China has really been driven by really the mobile phone, right? This is not a market where people are on their desktops or their laptops, they're on mobile devices. And so this has created an ecosystem and buyer behavior that's really app driven within the mobile shopping environment, if you will. And so marketplaces and platforms like Alibaba and Tencent with Tmall and JD respectively, social media platforms such as Douyin, such as WeChat and Weibo, really own the share of consumer spending. So brands need to be aware of the right point of sale that is going to connect their product to an end consumer on the ground in China and understand these channels. They're really no different than marketplaces on this side of the ocean or social media platforms on this side of the ocean, but the sheer volume of transactions, the importance of them from a revenue driving standpoint is really the difference of importance as it relates to China. As you start to get more granular, obviously things like content localization, translation, appropriate localization of the brand, the assets, the value proposition become really important. But these are branded marketplaces that have significant traction within these categories and subcategories of products that brands can easily tap into and within 30, 60, 90 days be participating in these marketplaces. And so it's really an environment that's really friendly and open for brands to be able to access and then publish their products and services within these ecosystems. Other trends, I think, to go at it from another angle is going to be what drives awareness. A question that we get really, really often is, hey, we're big over here, we're the number 3 player in this side of the ocean, or maybe we're a startup and we're just getting going. Certainly no one in China knows our brand. And that's true for most brands that are entering that market. You have ecosystems and channels like live streaming, the KOLs, key opinion leaders, key opinion consumers within the KOC communities. These are ecosystems that brands can tap into and networks that brands can tap into to gain huge levels of exposure and views to create, really fast, potent brand awareness. And that's really the environment that brands, as they look to access this market, can tap into.
It is a very interesting market, and the reason this is so important for us at UNPA is that we have a U.S. government grant to support the growth of the sale of North American, particularly American products in the e-commerce market in China. And WPIC is an ideal partner for us to really help the terrific companies and brands here find their way into the market. And there are legions of stories of companies that have gone over, not to be heard from again. And they learn the hard way. And WPIC has a suite of services and solutions. When people go to your website, it's really remarkable to see the range of capabilities and the data that you have available, the reports. Could you give us just a word or two about that range of services and what you can offer companies?
Totally. Yeah, the service offering's really been built in a holistic manner. So regardless of the size and scale of the company, whether a small SME or mid-market brand, that maybe they don't have a team in market, maybe they don't have anyone on their team that speaks Chinese or local languages in market. Maybe they've never been to China before and they need a partner that they can trust to really help navigate and make the right decisions. We've built our solutions to support that journey end to end. Alternatively, some of the larger enterprise players, maybe they're just dealing with a really complex problem from a technology or data standpoint that needs to be solved, and they just need a partner to come in and support specifically on that use case. So we're very modular in nature, but can act as a holistic partner. For us, I think the key pillars of support, really for any organization entering that market, starts with a great business plan, starts with solid data, solid understanding of the market. Our data sciences division helps a lot of organizations understand the market, understand the size of the prize. When we talk about, the vitamins and supplements category, what is that really worth to a brand at a particular price point in a particular platform, and being able to dissect that and then build out marketing budgets, forecasts, roadmaps, channel strategies, marketing plans about how they can attack that particular segment. So our data division is really important to help brands ultimately navigate and make decisions about the market, and ultimately roadmap, here's where we are today, here's where we want to be tomorrow, and how are we going to achieve that goal. As you look further into the different solutions that we offer brands and support on, we get into our digital services division, think social media programming, think content, think live streaming, think social media channels. Our e-commerce division is really critical in supporting and managing points of sale. So the big marketplaces, inventory management, the complexity around customer service offerings and logistics inside of the market. And then, as we talk about our logistics division, all of the warehousing that, to get a product from a warehouse on a shelf into a consumer's hand is really the most important piece of the pie to get that right and on time. All of these are services that we offer our clients at all levels of scale, if you will.
That's fantastic. I should add, one of the real advantages of working with WPIC is that you are in Vancouver, and people can pick up the phone and call. You're on Pacific time, and I know this personally. The 6 a.m. calls and the 6 p.m. calls, and they get old after a while. So yeah, having the ability to work with those that speak native English that are in North America, but tied to your number of offices in China, is a tremendous advantage, and certainly a way to sit down face to face with you here, as well as to work digitally and virtually with your teams in China. So I find that to be an especially valuable resource. Peter, how do people contact WPIC?
Yeah, and I appreciate that comment. I mean, communication is obviously really, really important in these types of programs. So having teams coast to coast here in North America from EST to PST is really helpful, I think, for a lot of groups. Yeah. But yeah, for folks that want to get in touch, our website's obviously a great resource, WPIC.co. They can reach me directly, peter.mcmath@WPIC.co. Happy to answer and speak to any individual brands directly on their particular situation is the best way, or you can find us on LinkedIn as well.
Terrific. Peter, it's been a real pleasure speaking with you today. I really appreciate the update of what is happening in China at this very, very interesting moment in time. Nobody saw this coming with this quick change of policy in China, but it certainly opens up opportunity. And so people should be quick on their feet to try and understand what can be done literally in the next quarter to begin developing and taking advantage of this fast evolving dynamic market in China. So with that, many thanks. I'm sure we'll be talking to you again on this program and get an update as we get closer to the end of the quarter. And hopefully our members will see you at Expo West coming up in March.
Yeah,
Chance to shake hands and say hello personally.
definitely. Yeah, Loren, always a pleasure. Great to see you, and thanks for the discussion today.
Thank you very much, Peter. It's been a real pleasure.